stand up so I can hear people. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so I don't remember how to change this, but do I call you TM?
You can call me TM or Torin. Either one works.
Just a little note. Little note. Hi, Ariel. Hi, Amelia.
Hi.
I am pulling up the questions because I forgot to do that before we started. Thanks for making it.
Yes. 1, 2. Okay, I know I accept you.
Well, we're gonna have like a full house tonight.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, we can. Do we call you MR or is there another name we call you?
You can just call me M.
M. Okay, and then we're just we're missing the person whose last name I don't know how to pronounce. Iwancio. I'm not. I don't want to butcher it.
It's okay.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Kay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait. Okay. Wait. I see her. I see them. No. Go away. Go away. No. Let me invite them. Invite. Ariel puts me in control of this, and I don't actually know how to work. Okay,
Hello!
I figured it out.
Yay!
It's been so long since I've seen your face.
I know, hello. I see you all the time on TikTok, but I don't like showing my face. So you're welcome, everybody.
Oh my gosh, how did that happen?
That was the wrong one.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Not that you're not
I'm
fantastic.
featured now. You're
I
welcome.
mean,
world.
featured, beautiful.
See
Love
my
it.
good side, see my bad side, whatever side I have.
There is no such thing as a bad side. It's all beautiful.
Well, you now made me stuck at it. I don't know how to undo it.
Wait, don't give
How
me
did
this
you
power.
get to
I
do
don't
the
want
thing
this
the last
power.
time?
Wait, what?
How did you get it to do the thing the last time?
That's a lovely, lovely question.
I'm here, Jinx. Hello. Thank you for showing up.
See, Earthman, you're so popular.
That's because I'm chaotic. So
That's why we love you.
This is one of my regulars. We have this entire banter we came up with. Yes, I did summon you. We always go back and forth. He human spawn, which is the pain in my rear end. Love him to death.
Okay.
This will work, right?
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Does everybody see the same thing? Because sometimes I do think we're gonna give it a couple minutes, let people get in, get comfortable, so everybody we can just chit chat for a little while before we get into like the nitty gritty.
Kay? Do we call you Kay? Do we call you something else?
No, Kay is good.
Okay.
Because I don't want you to hurt yourself on my last name.
Well, I was just gonna ask, how do you pronounce your last name?
Okay, so there's a fun way to remember. Pretend you're drunk.
Okay.
I want you. So everybody do it. Now everybody can try it. I want you.
I want you.
That's a great
I
way.
want you. Yeah, it sounds like you're drunk and you're saying I want you. Because I've had many people say, excuse me? I'm like, no, that's my last name.
But you know what? It's a great pickup line.
It is.
And if they're not receptive, you're just like, no, it's my last name. It's fine.
Yeah. Totally ask me that question, not any other question.
Hi, Kate. But thank you. I've been wondering how to say it, but I don't know a nice way to ask it in the Discord of like, please phonetically tell me how to say your name.
I mean, it really is how it looks. I want CEO. Yeah,
No,
don't overthink it.
It's
So,
difficult.
okay.
But you know what? I can't even complain because people mess up Earthmen all the time. So
Really?
Yeah, and my cousin is a stand-up comedian, so she is also an Iwancio, and she just randomly told me the other day, she's like, you're the more famous Iwancio. I'm like, that's cool, thanks.
I mean, definitely now. Congrats on all those freaking sales. I've been keeping up with your posts. Like, girl, you're killing it.
It's been insane, yes. It's been absolutely insane. No complaints.
Okay, so hello to everyone that has joined. Ariel and I are the hosts of Just Another Bookish Ball. We're the ones who have invited all of these authors here to torture them with questions this evening. We're doing one of our 2 featured lives for the month of June, and this is our second live, and we are looking at the LGBTQ plus community and its representation in books, why it's important, and why we want it to continue, obviously. Ariel?
Yeah, so I wanted to do something that was specific for Pride Month because, gotta represent. And I know that a lot of our authors are either LGBTQ plus themselves or also part or they write LGBTQ plus. That is going to be such a thing to say the whole time. Or they write LGBTQ plus characters. So
we
I thought it would
taste the rainbow.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it would just be some really fun live to just kind of dive into the creative process and maybe get into your guys' backstories a little. At any point you feel uncomfortable, just let us know and we'll move on. Not trying to make anybody feel uncomfortable with this live, but we will be talking about LGBTQ themes, and I'm super excited because I'm really excited to hear from you all. So
if we could do a little quick hi, who are you? What kind of books do you write? That would be fantastic. Kay, can we start with you since you're the first one I see?
So hi, I'm Kay Iwancio, and I write spicy rom-coms. I like to call them Hallmark smut. Are we allowed to say that? Probably. So they're funny, they're hilarious, they're completely unhinged, but they're all green flag men, which are rare in this world. So yes, you're welcome.
Torin?
Love that.
So my name is Tiam Baylor, or Torin. I write dark fantasy and horror. That's about all I got.
Okay. Hey, perfect. Sweet, short, to the point. We like it.
Amelia?
Hi, I'm Amelia Lisco. I have another super fun last name that nobody knows how to pronounce. I actually write paranormal and monster queer romance. So just super excited to be here and talk about it.
Okay. Anna?
Hi, I'm Anna Lynn Hammer. I write dark fantasy and dark dystopian romance. Yeah.
And MR? M?
Hi, my name is MR Erfman. I am a dark paranormal romance author, and I do have some queer representation within my books, which will continue. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Hello to everyone that has joined. We're very excited to have you here, and I'm going to turn it over to our lovely question host for the evening and ask Ariel to ask her first question.
Okay, cool. So I was really excited to think of some questions because I was just really excited about this topic. So let's see. Out of all of the questions that I have, okay, so we'll start a little bit easy. How do you go about making sure your characters feel real while you are writing? And we'll start with Kay, we'll just go in the order.
So I like to make my characters word vomit, and to put it nicely, I guess, because everybody is flawed, and the more unique the flaw, the more personable the characters are. So I like to give them all a fun twist. Sometimes I pull bits and pieces of characteristics from friends and people I know, but I do ask them first.
Always good to get consent.
I find the realest characters are based off of people in real life, or the ones that you can really pluck from. So
I would agree.
Awesome.
TM?
For me, I would say, again, give them flaws, just like you said, and also, goals and contradictions. So, having a character that's really brave but doesn't open up, isn't vulnerable, that's a little bit of a contradiction in their character, but it's a very human characteristic to have.
Love that.
Amelia?
Okay, so for me, it's a little bit of a longer process. I like to sit with my characters for a long time, so I do like full character profiles with them. I deep dive into like all of their occupations, like every single bit of backstory. Like I know what their vices are, what their like favorite drink is. And most of it doesn't end up on the page, but what it does for me is it really does make them real. Like I give them birthdays, like even if it's not on page, I feel like it gives me like a sense of who they are and like they exist outside of just the plot for me. So like I have whole like character sheets for them, and I can like tell you like what their favorite like football team is, if it's like if they like it or not. And I find that helps me like immerse myself in who they are. Like I'm sitting at the table having a drink with them and like we're playing a game of favorites. And that really helps me like put them on the page in a way that's not just for that scene. You know, they exist outside of that when the doors close and stuff like that.
I'm going to guess you're a plotter.
Yeah.
What made it so obvious?
How could you tell?
It was just an inkling I was getting. Anna?
Anna?
I tend to throw my characters into a category of my personality. So all of my books have some sort of trope for healing for me. And so I'm basically just using my readers as someone on the side while I heal my own traumas. But
Real. Fair.
Each of my characters have like some sort of my personality thrown into them, so it makes them real for me. And I guess it makes it real for other people too, because they have those traumatic events that happen to them.
Okay. And M?
So my sister is actually my biggest help with this. Despite our distance, she is with me throughout the entire writing process, from brainstorming to being my very first alpha reader. She has this superpower. We call it, you probably heard of it before, it's called dyslexia. And she's able to read my manuscripts and pick out things that just aren't right. So when her spidey senses go off, she lets me know and I make adjustments accordingly.
I love that. You've got like your own little like man behind the chair, but like, yeah.
And we've got the fun little comment of live, laugh, love, sisters.
Yes.
Love. Also, if you are watching and you have any questions for our wonderful authors, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will ask them. We just come up with a list of questions so that there's not a lull. But please ask if you have any questions. We are down to talk as much as we can.
And we also have a comment, that's so sweet that you write with your sister so involved in the process.
Oh yeah, she's my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, and she is the person who calls me every day at 7 a.m. Yeah, and she keeps me in line in chat. You're very right, Tunner. The person who calls me at 7 a.m. and says, how many chapters are we writing today? Did you get it?
Oh gosh, Ariel, please don't ever do that to me.
I might start doing that to you.
That's a lot of pressure.
Okay, so those were some great answers. So number 2, I'm trying to like read this and talk at the same time, so I'm like trying to stall while I read these questions. So like, why is it important to you guys to have LGBTQ plus representation in books and in media? So especially in y'all's books, particularly. And we'll just start with Kay.
So they exist in real life and they need representation everywhere. Media, books, they fall in love, they have life, they do everything that we do. And what's the difference? It's just another person in this world. But they just need a little extra love too.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just people. Queer people are just people. You know, like it's important to me that there's representation because that also brings normalization in a time period that sometimes isn't the most accepting of LGBT plus people. We're just people, we're just living our lives and we're loving like anyone else loves, and it helps make people feel seen. I know that when I was a kid reading like classic fantasy books, I didn't really see representation of people like me, and I really wanted to change that with my books. I feel like helping people feel seen is a really big part of the reason representation matters to me.
I love that. You just want to feel seen. I love that.
Ditto to everything. No, you guys hit on the most important parts, which is finding, a home for our readers in our stories where they can, feel like they belong. I think for me, it was more of a visibility thing, less so like getting a specific representation, but just a visibility of a variety of queer people within the space. Specifically because I write paranormal and monster. Othering is very common, like it's a common theme throughout. And the relatability of queer people along with somebody who's, maybe got fins or wings, is very, like they're very parallel. So it's almost like a disservice if I were to not, but also as a queer person, I just wanted the chance to make my Barbie dolls kiss in the way that I had never seen before. So, if my Barbie dolls had fins, were also kissing, that was just all the better for me. So it was just about seeing as much that I had not seen on page because, there's so many wonderful queer writers out there already. It was just sort of putting my stamp on it and finding a space where like my voice could be seen and I could find that pocket of readers who also needed that visibility too.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love that.
I had a really hard time coming out when I first realized that I wasn't just straight. Because, I was raised Catholic, I was raised with the man and woman, nothing else. Yeah. So it was really hard for me and I battled with my sexuality a lot. So it was just kind of natural for me to experience different sexualities within my writing because there were differences within me that I was fighting. I eventually figured out I'm demisexual, and then I figured out that I have different parts of me that I wanted represented, but also that my friends weren't being represented. So I wanted to make my characters just there. In my first book, I think it's my most LGBTQ oriented, and it's because I didn't realize that I was putting them in there. I was just like, oh, this person's going to be trans. That's cool. And this person's going to be gay. Whatever. So it was just super easy for me, and it was the most natural of anything that I could have written. If it was just male, female, it would have been boring for me. So.
Nice. So for my writing, as of course can't speak about the whole industry, having legitimate equal representation in my books is important because I want people to know that their love is accepted, it's valid, especially for my fellow bi people out there who are in straight presenting relationships. In my book, yay, hello. So my main characters in my book, oh goodness. Lilith is bi, Sam, he's pan, and they're both in a straight presenting relationship, and they're never going to change. I was fortunate enough to grow up with an amazing great-grandmother who was bisexual, and she was there for me through every question, every fear, every time I needed to be reminded that my love is still love. And that was part of her line too. She would always look at me and say, you know what? Love is love. Guy, girl, it doesn't matter. What's more pure than true love?
Oh, y'all are gonna make me cry.
Okay, I have a question that's not on the list.
Okay.
Okay, are you guys ready? What is your favorite author moment?
My favorite author moment?
Yeah, that one moment that makes everything seem worth it, whether it's somebody who's come up to you and been like, I read your book. The greatest thing I've ever read. It makes me so happy. Whether it's, wow, I finished this book. I can't believe it. Something like that. What is that one moment that has made it all worth it for you?
I have one of those. When I first published my trilogy, like my trilogy was out there, it was my debut novels, like I was so excited. I got a message from one of the readers. And mind you, this is my first books I published. I wrote them for me, like I didn't expect them to be read at all. I just put them out there. I had a reader message me and tell me how they felt so alone in the world and that they picked up my book and they didn't feel so alone anymore. It also inspired them to start writing, and they dedicated their first book to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so special. But that was like my moment where I was like, okay, I'm actually making a difference writing, and why I kept writing.
I'm already regretting asking this question.
Love that story. I'm getting a little emotional.
Yeah, I'm already regretting asking.
Not topping that one. All right, guys.
Are we okay to do like 3? Wait, do I have 2 or 3? Well, so, okay, well, the best one that's kind of reoccurring is seeing my books being shared in reader groups. Because, like, it's always those big top seller, big people that are always being like, oh, blah, 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 I love this book. But to see other my readers reaching out to other readers saying, oh my gosh, you guys would love this. That's cool. So I have a pansexual character in a book 2 of one of my series. And I learned a lot about me writing her as a character. And I spoke from the heart a lot deeper than I had before with any other character. And I was doing something you're not supposed to do, which is read your reviews on Goodreads. Mm-hmm. And a reader posted, that was the best explanation, down to earth, straightforward explanation of pansexuality I've ever found in my entire life. And I was like, thank you.
It's so hard to describe pansexuality. That's amazing.
So yeah, it was awesome that I'm like, I'm glad I got the point across, because she's explaining it to her love interest, because he's like, well, what is that? I've never really heard of it. So she just explains it as, I don't care what you are, I don't care who you are, but if I am attracted to you, I'm going to be attracted to you. I don't care if you're male, female, they, them, whatever part you have. If I like you, I like you. And that's what it is. That's the concrete answer.
Love that. And that's such a real definition too. It's just, if I
don't
like you, I like you.
Don't overthink it.
So I've had a couple, and I only have one book out, so a lot of it's just going to be focused on that one book. But obviously, when it's your first, there's like a lot of emotion tied to it, regardless of what the subject is. But I really wanted to highlight like my own bi experience, but also like my fantasies, and not just in like the spicy way, but like just a fantasy of like existing as a bi woman in a space where we so often don't get to even express ourselves without having to think of other people in the surrounding area before we. So a lot of how I wrote my book was like that. And I had one of my very first readers from the Netherlands. And she reached out, and she was actually going on her awakening experience. So she had picked up my book because there's 3 people on it. There's 3 people on it, and it's obviously showing a very specific image of somebody experiencing bisexuality. And so she messaged me afterwards, and she was like, this is my first like bisexual book, but it's also my first like paranormal whatever book. But like, you showed me that it is okay to explore this and to be proud of this, and to have, because there's no awakening in this book. It's just existing as a bisexual without having to quantify or explain yourself. And for her seeing like 4 bi people just exist in the space together was transformative for her, which obviously made me bawl my eyes out for a week straight. But it doesn't help that I also released it on Bi Visibility Day last year, so it was very like queer focused for a reason, but it also was so validating to get to have that moment for myself.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you for sharing. PM or M, do either of you want to share anything?
You know what? Mine's really close to home. What really made it all worth it, especially after the debut, was my kids. They were so excited and to tell everybody. Like they were telling, I had a call from the school because they kept telling everybody, my mom's dark romance came out. So, you know, that was hilarious. But
how old are they?
But they were excited and they were telling everybody, and they were like, my mom wrote a book, and then they're writing their own books and all that. And that's really what makes it work. I don't have to make a dime, and that just made it worth it. Right there. And I'll keep telling your kids. Pardon?
How old are they?
They are 8 and 6.
Perfect age for dark romance.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Hey, anybody can advertise anything, okay?
Oh yeah. It was cool, especially when the English teacher called me. I don't know if she's on here now, but she called me. She was like, "Yeah, so they can't." Like, I had to explain that we can talk about dark romance in school, but it's really cool that your book came out. I'm like, thanks. She's like, yeah, all the teachers are looking at it. I'm like, even better.
Even better.
Teacher conference.
That's fantastic.
I'd say for me, the biggest moment for me was after I got all my beta feedback back, and my beta readers were telling me how seen they felt by my characters. Feeling seen and helping other people feel seen is one of the biggest reasons I started writing, and having these people actually able to see themselves in my characters and feel comfortable telling me that was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before.
I am so genuinely happy that all of you got to have such a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I love all of these moments for you guys. Like that's just amazing.
100% regret asking though, because I'm gonna cry. But
a couple of comments. Let's see. Super Auntie, hello, welcome. Amanda, hi, welcome. I see you in here too, Dr. Rowan. What's up? Listen, MR managed to get a straight biker musician who repairs instruments to read dark PN romance. Is PN short for paranormal? Am I right? Yes. Okay. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. And even cooler, Tunner, I'm hoping this is okay for me to share. If not, you can yell at me later. But he's been inspired enough by my book that he's wanting to write a song.
ooh,
So, just to add pressure to you, Tunner.
we're listening.
Now everybody else knows. I do have a question too, and it's not a question on the list, so don't. But it's so I wanted to talk about the bury your gays trope, right? And I wanted to talk about how do you guys give your characters your ending in a way that feels authentic, but how do you guys give your guys' characters in a way that feels authentic, even if it is in a way that is giving them the ending that is death, unfortunately? Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
I'm the only sunshine and rainbows one here, so I only have HEAs. Sorry.
Oh, okay, perfect.
All right. I write dark fantasy, so a lot of my characters die. I feel like I'm qualified to answer this question then. I find with the bury your gays trope, one of the biggest hallmarks of that trope is that the gay character, the queer character, is dying in service of, like, the protagonist, usually. It's like sacrificing themselves, in a way, to make the protagonist's ending better, and I feel like that's an issue in a lot of ways, but the way that I've worked around that in my book with having characters die is that all of my characters are fully fleshed out. They aren't just dying for the sake of another character or sacrificing themselves for another character. They're full fleshed out people in and of themselves with goals and motivations outside of just the protagonist. Just treating them like people.
Okay.
Anna, I'm seeing you being called out.
Yes.
Sorry, my son woke up, so I didn't want to interrupt with the crying. But
Hi, Casper.
I kill all my characters.
So you're equal about it all.
Yeah, might as well, right? You get a knife, and you get a knife, and you get a knife.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe they'll survive sometimes, but most of the time they're just all dead. I think I have one book with a happily ever after, and even that's not a happily ever after because then in the sequel I kill everybody. So
It's a HEA for now.
yeah, basically.
That's funny. Amelia, anything or?
I mean, I've killed my character, but she came back to life, so I don't know if I'm really qualified. She needed it, you know. It's part of the thing. We're focusing on some because I write dark paranormal romance, and I personally focus in on the negative aspects of human psychology and human experience. And my first book, Lilith, has a lot regarding domestic violence in it. So that's one of the big triggers. And in a way, my character's death also was her rebirth out of the situation she was in. So for her, it was a necessary evil that had to occur, which, sorry guys, spoilers. If you didn't read it.
I have no death. I have no death. I don't know that I could write something quite yet. Like right now I'm doing a process trauma, part of my writing, which is extremely fulfilling, but it's hard. So my character obviously survives as we all work through trauma. That's definitely not the end goal. But if I had to, I don't think I would have an issue with the bury your gaze, but that's just because I do immerse myself in all of my characters. Like TM said, as long as your characters are strong, that issue doesn't really happen. It's when when your characters don't really see themselves outside of that like specific scene, that's when you fall into that trap. Especially if they are like, gay or lesbian or whatever, and they just so happen to die. As long as the characters are strong, that's really, the happy space you need to be in to then kill them off.
We do have a question in the chat. What are some stereotypes you see with LGBTQ plus characters that you feel are detrimental?
I wasn't asked, but I do want to answer that because I have strong opinions. I have read so many books that have included an LGBTQ plus character where that is their only personality trait. And it drives me nuts every time.
Me too.
It's like, this character is gay. Okay, but what else?
Yeah, or they're just thrown in there to add color.
Yeah. But what else?
Yeah.
I'm gay. Okay, but like, anything?
So
Like, the ditzy gay guy who doesn't really know anything, that one drives me insane.
That's so valid.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm sort of uniquely qualified to answer this one because the whole point of my book was to sort of take a lot of bi stereotypes and like myths and sort of like face them in front of everybody. I mean, the book is polyamorous, and as we all know, there's a stereotype that all bis are polyamorous. But stereotypes don't all come from falsehood. Some of them are true. And so my goal was to put that bi polyamory in the spotlight. So rather than it being a stereotype, it does exist. And there is a good, amount of bi people who are polyamorous and vice versa. But also, like bis in an MF relationship are just straight. That's called into question because I have multiple pairings within the polycule that are MF. But also that, bi men are, too feminine or they're just gay. All of those stereotypes sort of come to a head when you see all of these bi main characters together. And so that was sort of my goal, was to sort of like challenge this stereotype that exists for across the board for bi folks, and sort of like give people an opportunity to say, hey, this may be a stereotype, but it is also true in some scenarios. So it's allowed, it's not that every stereotype has to exist in a negative. You just have to be aware of when it's being used ineffectually. So like in my case, it's just factually true. They just all happen to be bi and they're all together in a polycule. That's, you know, that exists in real life and that also deserves its time. And I think that's a hard thing for people to, you know, to recognize is that, oh, well, I want to avoid all the stereotypes. Okay, great. But some of those stereotypes are also authentic. So let's also give them space. So that's sort of, that was my goal, was to say, hey, yes, this is a stereotype. I'm writing the stereotype. But that's okay because people deserve that authenticity too. So,
Very well stated. Anybody else?
I feel like I'm not really sure if this is necessarily a stereotype, but the whole idea that all queer people live in inner turmoil about their sexuality, I really don't like that one. That one very specifically angers me, because a lot of people have accepted their sexuality. There are certainly space for stories where people are coming into their sexuality and learning and experiencing all their first times, and that there is space for those stories, and those stories are important, but that shouldn't be every story with queer characters.
I totally agree.
Hard agree, yeah.
Okay, great question. Thanks for asking the question. I've got a couple more. What are some stories that are still missing in the LGBTQ plus fiction that you hope to see more of, or that you hope to write more of to bring into this space? We'll go back into the regular order.
I definitely want to see biopic LGBTQ stuff.
Not yes.
Anywhere near enough out there right now.
Agreed.
And I definitely feel authors of color should be writing that, and not people who don't know that, even though there are people like asking me like, when are you gonna write, you know, a black character? And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable writing a black character because I don't have that experience to make it authentic. So I would give that, you know, to somebody else. Yeah, I think that's. Wait, what was the question again?
Oh, sorry. What stories are still missing in the LGBTQ plus fiction that you hope to see more of, or that you hope to write more of?
So I am going to write a poly romance, and I definitely think there needs to be more of that offers a healthy outlook on it. Like there's just and especially for people who aren't, like my characters aren't really familiar with the term, but they're comfortable with the idea of it. So kind of more of that aspect of it, because I feel like if people had more of that conversation, there would be more of it. But people are just like, oh, what's that? Like, yeah, don't be scared of it. It's okay. It's okay. You can love multiple people. That's totally fine.
Absolutely. TM?
I'd say the biggest one for me is, and this is very similar to the last question, like there are space for these stories, but I want to see other stories explored as well. I'd like to see stories about LGBT plus people that aren't just about romance. I'm not a big romance reader or really a romance writer myself, and I would like to see stories that show queer people outside of romance, because being queer is a big part of your identity, and it doesn't just come down to who you're attracted to. Like, it impacts a lot of the way that we interact with the world around us. We have a very specific way of viewing things in comparison to straight people usually. So I'd love to see some stories that talk about just existing as a queer person instead of existing as a queer person in a relationship. Like, we should have stories with relationships, but also without them.
I agree. Absolutely.
I concur, obviously. I think a lot, my space is obviously romance, but we talk a lot about queer normative worlds because a lot of books don't have that. But I think that's really where a lot of fiction does need to go outside of romance, but also with romance, is that queer normative worlds and what that truly means needs to be the standard, because queerness challenges the establishment that we currently have. And most of, you know, the stuff that we see in fiction doesn't ingrain the queerness within like how society exists. You know, there's some that might turn it on its head, but it doesn't like really embody queer like living within it. And it shouldn't just be for romance. You know, yes, that's important, but I think it needs to be in fantasy, in historical, because there's a huge piece of historical fiction that is not really showing us, you know, the queer life that people live. For me, I would like to see more gender nonconforming, especially in the romance space that I'm in. I live in a really tiny bubble where I have a lot of gender nonconforming, non-binary, and trans authors in my sphere, so I see them. But I think it would be so great to have that doubled or tripled, so that we get like trans masked characters being at the forefront, especially because in real life they are made so invisible. So having their stories, both romance and not, would be like phenomenal to see. But yeah, gender nonconforming is really where I'd love to see those characters shine and take the lead, especially because, you know, generally we talk about book boyfriends, we talk about book girlfriends, but we don't really have like space set aside, like labels set aside for gender nonconforming love interests or main characters. And I think part of the issue that I see is that we're not making that normalized as part of like how we're writing and like how we're talking. Because I have a character I'm writing and they're non-conforming. I'm like, well, they're not a book boyfriend. They're not a book girlfriend. What do I say? And I think the more we see those stories, the more normal that becomes, and the more we see it reflected in real life.
Absolutely.
But also the intro book crush is the
Book crush probably would work. I was like, I kind of want to Google now, like synonyms for book boyfriends.
I was thinking book partner.
Or book partners.
If they, you know, sometimes I write where they don't like have formal relationships, so I like book crush just in case there's not. Plus, for anybody that doesn't write romance, book crush still sort of works if they don't end up in relationships.
That's fair.
Anna?
Honestly, I would really like to see like more late people who are older coming out, who maybe had like a previous partner before, or that was like of the opposite sex, just so that there's more, I guess, diversity in who we're looking at from the LGBTQ community. I feel like everything that I read is always like, oh, they know that they're this, or they know that they like this person. And it's not, oh, I have a kid with this person and I actually don't feel like I'm attracted to this person anymore. And like figuring it out that way and all the like turmoil that comes from that.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
That makes so much sense, yeah.
So being the last to speak, I've had a little bit of time to sit with this question, and my imagination has been absolutely beyond real, and I can't settle. I couldn't even imagine. There's so many unique stories out there, and honestly, with so many different writers and authors and everybody in between, we just need to hear them all. Why not? Just why settle on one thing? Just everybody, all of them.
I love that. We've got a couple of comments. Somebody asked, what stereotypes are easiest to use /write/make accessible? Not just queer, but straight as well. Any that you want to turn on their head in any way.
I mean, I know I like to take standard tropes and put a weird twist on them.
Example.
I'll say, what's a good example? I mean, like reverse grumpy sunshine. There's not enough of that, where the girl's the grump and he is like the sunshine. I like doing that. Okay, so I know meet cutes are big in romance world, but I have a paranormal romance where she is a bookstore owning witch, is cursed with the ability to turn into a cat, and the guy she has a crush on is a firefighter, and their meet cute is he rescues her from a tree in cat form and takes her home.
Oh, that's so cute!
So then she has to pretend, oh, hey, that's actually not my cat that you took home, it's actually me, but, you know, it's a whole absolute chaos. But it was such a fun book to write, and it was one of my best-selling books. But it's just chaotic.
I love that. Tia?
This is kind of similar to your answer, but I like subverting the typical hero's journey. So I have 6 POV characters in my book, and none of them follow the typical hero's journey. I know that's not really a stereotype, but it was the closest thing I could think of. I don't do hero's journeys in my book, I do subversions of them.
Heck yeah. We need more of that, so.
I think for me, a lot of the stereotypes that I have are more just like not having my MMCs function in a traditionally romantic way. So like for example, none of my MMCs are like tall and buff and like, which is perfectly valid. And that is a wonderful fantasy for people who have that. But I'm personally not attracted to that. So what my brain was like doing is like, let's do not that. So the MMC in my first book was short, and he didn't like, he has muscles, but he has like blue collar muscles, not like gym muscles. So he can lift like 50 pounds of like soil, but not like like perform at a bodybuilder. So for me, it was just like showing an inclusivity within MMCs that's not really there. And it's not necessarily a stereotype, but it is in a way. You know, we tend to get a lot of the same MMC descriptions and like personality.
So that was my thing that I would like to see more of. I would like to see more like size, like inclusivity in books.
And emotionally, you know, I think this would fit in a stereotype because he is somewhat emotionally unavailable, but it's because he tends to internalize a lot of the blame for things. But at the same time, he's very outwardly affectionate because he's a golden retriever, but he also holds back a lot of his emotions because he feels responsible for them. But also he's like a super sweetheart and like has an entire garden that he takes care of each plant, and he knows like each of them. He's an elemental, so like these are literally his babies. But at the same time, he's in the kitchen and he cooks for his entire like polycule. So he's very much a subversion on that like stereotypical like, yes, he works outside, but he is not the traditional like, and he is emotionally unavailable, but not in the same way as we expect it. And I think that's worth exploring because men are, you know, vastly complex, but we really don't give them the space in books to do that all of the time. You know, we sort of give them a personality and relationship to their relationship, but not really existing so much outside of that. And that's sort of what I wanted to like subvert or like challenge along the way.
Okay.
Nice. Real quick, just in case anybody's wondering, MMC, male main character. Just in case anybody didn't know.
Should have clarified that, sir.
No, you're good. I wanted to make sure.
Also, hello, Mundy.
Hi, Mundy.
Anna?
Honestly, as much as I try, I cannot get enemies to lovers down at all. I tried to do enemies to lovers, and then it's just kind of like, oh, I dislike you for like a couple of chapters, but oh, now I see why you're like this and why the rules are switched and all this other stuff. So, probably can't do enemies to lovers, and I would like to one day. I'm not strong enough yet to control my characters, so
Got it.
But I would also like to, I don't know, I would like to explore maybe a happily ever after at one point, one day.
Call me, I got him.
One day.
Because yeah, your Kate's really good at those.
Oh, what about you, Em?
Okay, so looking back at the question, thank you, Tunner. Love you so much, man. So much, making me think. This is my punishment, by the way. I hope you guys know this. Okay, stereotype that is easiest to use, right, or make accessible would, honestly, an insecure woman is the easiest stereotype to write. Genuinely think about it. Raised with so many insecurities, you have such a high standard, and it takes, I would say statistically somebody until almost their 30s or around there to actually come out and express who they are, no matter, what color of the rainbow it is, or not even.
I feel so called out.
Right? I was just thinking that. I was like, okay, damn.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
But my favorite to turn on its head is I don't like to write wholly submissive women.
Okay.
You can be as insecure as you want, but that doesn't mean you have to be submissive. And in my books, right now, they are not wholly submissive. They know what they want, and they're gonna get what they want.
Good for them.
Heck yeah. That. Hi, Whimsical. Welcome to the live. I have a question that's on the list. I feel like we've been throwing you guys for a loop because we gave you this list and we barely used it. But you guys are doing amazing. So, so what are you guys currently working on, and does it continue to explore queer themes or characters? And if you can't tell us like a lot of details, just tell us what you can tell us.
Mine's more like, which project do you want me to talk about? Because there's like,
Are you working on more Savannah Banana stuff?
Yes. And actually,
Okay.
the second Savannah Banana series that I'm gonna go crazy with too, which is what my brain is at right now. I'm like, no, we have 5 other books to go through. But like I said earlier, so in the current Savannah Banana series, there is going to be a polycule relationship, and I definitely want to try sword crossing. Let's go. Where they're all gonna kind of figure shit out as they go and be like, you know what? We can cheer her. She likes us both. It's gonna be great. So I'm really looking forward to that book.
Hi, Henley. Love that. I love that.
I'm just picturing a scene like Google, like, how do I put insert where? Go.
And she's gonna be a baseball player too. So I like doing empowering women in sports. So like the first one was a team choreographer. The second one's gonna be third one is gonna be a female umpire. Second one is a female mascot, and it's gonna be a baseball player in that book. So it'll just be kind of fun to see their dynamic on the field. And she's gonna be their unexpected roommate. So it's gonna be really fun.
And they were roommates.
Yeah.
If you want to turn this dark romance, I got a few ideas.
Savannah Banana
Dark romance somewhere down the pipeline, but that's like, I don't know how I'm ever going to attempt that without puking sunshines and rainbows somewhere in it.
Sunshines and rainbows. It just can be at other parts. I have
Glitter
dark
and unicorns, pink, hot pink stuff. Like I really want to do dark romance, but I'm like, I don't know if my soul will let me do it. Like my brain, just let's go.
I can't
dark.
kill my characters. I just can't.
He can't be morally gray. He has to be a green flag.
team up.
They just break.
then you can write sunshines and rainbows in one perspective, and I'll have the other perspective of like just darkness and doom.
What about you, TM?
So I'm working on books 2 and 3 in my dark fantasy series that I'm going to be bringing to the convention, and I am exploring queer themes. I have queer characters. I have a queer normative world, so I'm really excited for exploring these characters through the rest of these books.
What is that mean? Queer normative world. Like, I may be the only one who doesn't know what that means, but what does that mean?
So the way that I think of it, it's that queerness is not seen as abnormal in any way. That usually also means like no misogyny, no patriarchy, that kind of thing.
So queer normal.
Yes. So in my book, a country is queer normative. There are other countries that aren't, but first book takes place in a queer normative country.
Should have used my context clues.
So for mine, it's very appropriate. Mine is a sapphic, polyamorous monster romance that takes place in a fae pleasure house. So it's a very spicy, forward romance. It does get happy for now. Afterwards, we don't want to put labels on anything, so it's happy for now. But it follows a woman who, to Anna's credit, it's a late in life bi awakening, but it's not necessarily for same gender. It's actually for a gender non-conforming partner where she has her bi awakening. So she goes and she wants to explore herself. She's denied herself for a very long time, her bisexuality. And so she goes to this pleasure house where there's lots of queer monsters. They're all queer monsters. So monsters. And she finds herself attracted to partners who don't ascribe to, a particular gender. Where she finds two particular monsters who somehow, just ring the bell in a different way than everybody else does. And she starts to find herself, thinking about life with both of them. So it's very exciting. It is incredibly spicy. But I will definitely have it for, it's actually coming out next month. So I will have.
Congratulations.
Oh, exciting.
But I'm very excited for it. It's very expressive and it's appropriate for this conversation because I tried to put, not that I wanted to overfill it with queer characters, but I did because I just wanted it to be like a literal taste the rainbow, like Kay said earlier, because I just want to fit so many queer people in one book, and just show how amazing our love is. And yes, it's spice forward, but sometimes that, is an expression we don't often get to have because it's either like spice or nothing. And we don't really get to have a gentle, yes, you can have spice, is it just an expression of in the moment, or is it something that might be long-term? Why not have that be both? And so that was sort of my goal with my current book.
Love it. Anna?
So
Chaos is very, sorry. Chaos was very excited about TM being in here.
Right.
You go ahead, Anna.
So I have a new book that is coming out for the Morley Gray series. So I'm working on that, and it has a lot of lesbian and polyamorous contributions to it. So, sorry, son's crying. 2 places at once. But yeah, so I have that coming out, and then I did hint in my newest book, In Her Dark Waters Chronicles, that's coming out in August, of a forming relationship between 2 female characters. So it kind of gives their why choose situation a little bit more spice than just the traditional.
Nice.
love, 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 love.
I am currently working on book 2 of my Mr. M's Bookshop series, with hopes to have it out before the ball for all of your reading pleasure. And while it does not continue to explore queer themes, my characters Sam and Lilith will be returning with their own POVs. And I cannot express how excited I am for you all to read this, because I'm finally answering the question that I left everybody on a cliffhanger on. There's Mr. M.
Ooh.
Okay, intrigue.
Hey, are you wearing a baseball shirt?
Yes. This is my series shirt.
I just noticed it. It fits right in.
So we are about to start wrapping up, but I wanted to ask one more question, and this is not based on the theme. It's actually just based on the event. So what are you guys most excited about to be attending Just Another Bookish Ball? And it doesn't have to be long. Just a couple of things.
I'm excited that it's in Pittsburgh because I went to college out in Pittsburgh, so I'm very familiar with the area, and I always wanted to do a signing out there, so that was like a big draw for me. Well, and then, MR Earthman's like, oh, hey, I'm going to be in Pittsburgh. I'm like, really?
I'm so excited.
I need to go stalk you, so you know what? I'm going to sign with you.
I love that.
I'm really excited to meet all the readers, and I am also excited that it's in Pittsburgh because it's so close to home for me. I'm really excited to meet more of the Pittsburgh book community and the readers that are coming in.
Heck yeah.
Ditto. It's definitely nice to have something that's more locational, especially on the East Coast. We don't usually get it right here in Pennsylvania, so I'm super excited for that. But I just want to go to like every vendor, and I just want to collect all of the fairy things that I could possibly have. I'm so excited to dress up. I have so many outfits planned, like too many outfits planned.
Yay, me too.
But my best friend is going to come. She's going to do the table with me, and we're just going to have a blast. I'm just so excited.
So, what about you, Anna?
I will be cosplaying as 2 of my characters for the first time, so I'm super excited, and then I have like my glamorous outfit for the ball, so
That's so exciting!
I know.
So other than, of course, hanging out with Kay and seeing her lovely face again, which, hands down, it's going to be the best. I'm also super excited to travel back to my home state. I'm actually going to be coming in from damn near across the country. So it's going to be really great to come back home for a little bit and definitely see friends, family, and experience my first book signing.
We are so honored.
We are honored. But thank you guys so much for coming out and for discussing these topics. And thank you so much for being part of this event. Guys, tickets go on sale August 2nd, 2025. So that is a little less than like a month and a half, like a month and like 2 weeks, really. We got some, so definitely make sure you are putting that in your calendar. So, because there's a limited amount, we want to make sure that you can get your tickets and come see these wonderful, amazing authors. And yeah, thanks so much for being around and for coming on here. And I am rambling because I can't think of how to end this. Alicia, help!
If any of the authors' books tonight, you were like, I have to go read that right now. If you go to justanotherbookishball.com and navigate to our authors, click on any one of their books and their names. It'll take you where you can go to their Amazon store page to get all their books, all their social media so you can follow them. So that way you can make sure that you can find them, as well as all of our other incredible authors. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to our lovely authors for answering our questions. We were so honored to be able to work with you. And I hope everybody has a good night.
And this is why we're a team. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.